Howdy everybody, how y'all doing? And welcome to the Ice House, where we try to keep things cool, calm, collected, and mostly a bit chill. Well, as you all know, being from Texas, I like the wide open spaces. I really do like mountains, right? As you can tell from the title, it's kind of what we're talking about today. And well, the thing is, we don't have a lot of mountains in Texas, but, at least I have access to some, right? So, I've been to a few places, like, you got the Appalachians and the foothills over on the east side of the country, and then you've got the Great Divide and Great Rockies and stuff, right? On the western side, right? So, we've got a lot of mountains for scale, right? You see what I did there? But it's I don't know, I've kind of been pondering, like I do. And you guys know the old phrase, the making a mountain out of a molehill, or making a molehill out of a mountain, right? The whole idea that perspective and, kind of sizing things up, in a way, really helps us in how we process, how we work through problems, and how we see obstacles in our way, right? And so that's what I want to talk about today, right? Because, like I said, it's a mountains to scale, right? Because, to scale. Right, there's the wordplay. So I remember, and I meant to do some research on this, and maybe I'll put it up here, right, somewhere around here. But there's an M.C. Escher, short story. I mean, obviously I like birds, quote the raven nevermore, but it was at this point in the editing process that I was very aware that I meant to say Edgar Allan Poe. I mean, M.C. Escher is really cool, but we know who quotes the raven nevermore. And so we're just going to chalk this up to my bird brain and, just admit once and for all that I'm bad at direct quoting, right? You may have figured it out by now that I'm great at concepts and philosophizing, but I'm not great at the one-to-one ratio, right? In, a lot of contexts. So, I do my best. So, in the future, now that you know, I'm just going to paraphrase the Boys in the Hood and say, don't quote me now, I ain't said nothing. Nevermore, but there was one short story he has. It's about a guy looking out, across our way and looking at a mountain. And, if you look through the telescope or the thing, right? It looked in the story, like I said, it's only a 2-page story, so I'm not really spoiling a lot. But basically, the idea, perspective of it looks like there's a giant spider crawling up a mountainside, right? But when you look at it, it's actually just a spider that was kind of on a spider web inside of his window that, through line of sight, looked like it was, to scale with the mountain, and the way that it was crawling up, it looked like it was actually crawling up the side of the mountain. But when you look at it from a different perspective, it's just a tiny spider, right? And I know we could talk about entertainment and physical media and physical props, right? All that stuff about how some of those movies and some of the practical effects, that they did some really, really cool stuff with perspective. And, even up to Peter Jackson's Hobbit films, where they sat them down in different places so that it looked like they were staring at each other, but they really weren't, right? So there's a lot of things that we get to play with perspective-wise, right? And not just, like I said, as much as I like the mountains for the big open spaces and, being able to take a breath And that's a perspective of its own. But in life, there's a lot of times where we get the choice to decide the scale of things, right? Whether we want it to be a anthill or a molehill, or a foothill, or maybe one of the Great Rockies, right? Maybe a 14er, right? Like 1,400 feet, 1,000 feet, right? One of the big ones to climb, where the oxygen gets thin and, takes a lot of work, right? A lot of effort to scale that mountain. So, I guess what I'm trying to say is, well, first off, are you the kind of person that, takes things and scales them upscales or downscales them just by, having to deal with them? Yeah, I know there's some people that you might think are just lazy, or, why don't they let things affect them, or why don't they care more? You know what? They might actually care a lot, but sometimes, scaling things down to a perspective, scaling things in a way to not let them, cut you too deep, or, tug at your heartstrings so much that, it affects you so negatively, is kind of a gift in a way, I think. Like, I'm not saying being numb is good, but I think there is something to be said about letting, like a duck, letting the water roll off your back. And I know I mix metaphors up way too much, so hopefully you can follow along. But like I said, are you the kind of person that, lets things kind of slide like that? Or are you somebody that, when something happens, or maybe you see a tweet, or maybe somebody makes a passing comment in real life, and it just fires you up because maybe they don't even know you from Adam, but something strikes a nerve because they're talking about something that's, whether it's current day politics or religion, or something that you're also invested in, and you have to respond, and you have to sort of speak into it, right? I mean, don't get me wrong, I think there's a value to both. I think there's a value to be passionately involved and passionately want to defend or protect an idea, right? I think there's something to be said about picking your battles and figuring out how to say something in a way that, speaks to the target audience, right? Speaks to maybe not the world at large, but in a way that you get your point across that you can, I don't know, even if, like I said, you're a passionate person, that your passion isn't just anger or, calling somebody out for not agreeing with you or not liking you, but trying to be a sort of, even if sometimes we have to clash, right? Sometimes the agreements or disagreements or learning each other, some of us are a little bit more aggressive, and they say iron sharpens iron, and sometimes when two strong wills get kind of pushed together, you're testing the waters, right? You got to push back, right? Which is, when I said there's the people that are chill and let things roll off their back, or scale down everything, it kind of seems like they don't care at all, right? But maybe they're, like I said, they're more of the kind of people that are trying to keep everything sort of at a the pendulum swinging a little bit less crazy and less, wide, because, like I said, there's something to be said on both sides, right? There's no way to say that somebody who's too energetic or too zealous can't be mindful and can't be effective, just in the way that somebody's calm, cool, and collected can't also have value in a conversation, right? Because, like, sometimes you need the clash. Sometimes you need to push back, right? Sometimes you need the personality that calls somebody out. And sometimes you need the cool, calm, chill to be anti-aggression, you know, emotional, anti-something, the counterbalance, right? And it's hard to know which is better. I mean, each situation is kind of on its own thing, right? Once again, I try to stay chill, but I have my moments where I have outbursts, right? Some jokingly and some not jokingly. I can't say that I haven't been proud of myself at times when I maybe make a molehill into a mountain that I didn't need to, right? And maybe I was hangry or sleepy or something. Like, we all have those things, right? We all have who we want to be, who we try to be, and who we are when we need a Snickers. I'm not sponsored by them. It's just a good reference point. So, I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, how do you scale things, right? How do you process life? Like, even if you're somebody who jumps, up at every little thing and, gets riled up a lot, right? Do you handle yourself in a way that you can be productive and use that energy in a healthy way, and in your pushback sort of drive the conversation and drive the purpose forward, right? And if you're a calm, cool, collected person, are you chill to the point of, are you nonchalant and just don't care, right? Or are you effectively negotiating in a way that helps people de-escalate the situation so that they can, be calmer, work through things in a way that maybe everybody can be a little bit more on the same page. Maybe they can sort of find the common ground, right? Because I think one of the biggest things, right, on either side of this coin is that there comes a point where if we're trying to work together with somebody or some group of people, we have to have, well, I mean, the word common ground works, but we have to have this matching pitch, right? The same frequency, the same sort of beats per minute, the same sort of something that even if we syncopate our rhythm off of, we need some sort of grounding to help us all be in the same, vein of things, right? Because, well, as a punk kid, right? If I'm listening to some crazy punk or ska that's, needs to drink, I need to slam a can of Surge. That's right, I grew up on Surge. But I turned out okay. Just kidding. I just drink coffee now. But, as opposed to somebody who's listened to, well, just some classic rock, right? We're not gonna quite jive if we're both stepping out of our cars at the same time, right, with something else going through our head. We need a moment to level out, kind of figure out where we are and where all of our tones and our pacing and our rhythms kind of mix, so that we can work together. But I know I'm mixing metaphors once again. But once again, the whole thing I want to talk about, and the takeaway is, how do you scale your mountains? How do you scale the things, the obstacles, the perceived issues that you need to work through or figure out how to get past, right? And are you scaling them too up because maybe they're not that big of an issue, but it's easier to focus on something kind of silly and contrary because it keeps you from having to deal with your own stuff or things that are deeper and harder to handle, right? Like a distraction. Or maybe you're downplaying everything and slinking away from things because, you're avoiding all this stuff because, well, you're kind of lost in your own head, right? Or are you really stepping up to the plate and being effective and aggressive when you need to, and being able to slow down and be calm and make the mountain a little bit smaller because it's really not that important, and save your energy for something that really matters, right? So, if that hopefully makes some sense, right? How do you scale your mountains, or your molehills, or your anthills? Because we all have perceived issues and conflicts in life, and sometimes they're real, and sometimes they really have to get worked through. And sometimes we just caught up in stirring up things or in energy that causes, well, dysfunction and breaks up unity in a way that just isn't really who we want to be and not really what we want to carry forward, right? So, yep. That's mostly what I have to say today. Like I said, sometimes I'm a little too chill. Sometimes I might overreact too. So, something we're all working on. But hopefully you found this helpful. And if you have any thoughts or comments, leave them down below. And, well, like and subscribe and share it out and stuff. And, well, we'll see you later. Bye!